So I keep getting crickets in my house. I don't know why. I've never had a cricket problem before, but I looked it up, and apparently it's really bad luck to kick them out of your house. Like, you're not supposed to kick them out of your house, but like, what am I supposed to do? Like, let you stay here? Now there's like 36 crickets running around because I did kick out one, and let me tell you, I had a really, really horrible week after that. And now they're just running around. And I'm like, please move. I just want to make a piece of toast and you're in my way. And I open a cabinet and it's just like, oh, hey, cricket that I can't kick out of my house. Can you please just leave? I don't want to kick you out. I just want to ask you nicely to leave. My house is just infested with crickets. And there's nothing I can do about it.
So I don't like to judge people based on how they look, but I wonder, do you think she's just based on how she's looked? Do you think she's mistaken crickets for cockroaches?
That's hilarious. Probably.
I just, you know.
Yeah, I hadn't considered it before you mentioned it, but
It all makes so much more sense.
It would, right? I mean, like,
when do you open a cabinet and see crickets crawling around? You don't. You see cockroaches.
You don't, right? Yeah, right. Or get in the way of making your toast in the morning. That's not crickets. Those are cockroaches. Like,
This situation is way worse than you think it is. You bet you wish your house was infested with crickets.
Yeah. Tomorrow you will wish. Yeah.
Every time I've played that intro, I always come out of it and say that poor bimbo, and
you learn something new every time, though.
I never thought that she might be that much of a bimbo, but you do have a good point.
I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time believing anybody with that much eyeliner or eye tattoos like that. I mean, like, teardrops is one thing. Butterfly eyes like that, all that mascara. I don't know. Too much makeup scares me. I don't trust what's underneath it. Yeah. You got to be honest with me. That's not honest.
I found out that there's a thing. It's a type of sleep mask that girls with big fake eyelashes wear to sleep. That has like these pads around it, so they don't mess up their eyelashes when they sleep. And like that whole psychosis behind the big eyelashes got like way deeper when I learned that was a thing, even, which would make sense. I just never considered it, but of course that exists.
So are they like goggles? You just like paint some black paint on the inside of some goggles.
They're like big padded goggles, yeah. They almost look like headphones, like these kind of headphones, but like on your eyes.
That seems like a lot to go through just for like some big dumbass looking eyelashes.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, and it is weird in real life too. Seeing that shit, it's like, oh, like that's a look.
It is, and I don't know, man. That takes a lot of time. I gotta think it takes time or maintenance anyway. I don't know.
Definitely maintenance. Husband's money.
I get a little bit of beard oil or beard cream on the tips of my fingers and just rub it in and then run a brush through it. It takes all of about 45 seconds. Does
that make your eyebrows look so good?
Yes, that's what makes my eyebrows look so good.
Or eyelashes, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's
someone's metrosexual.
That's as much as I'm willing to put into like any kind of a beauty regimen. The bullshit they go through for eyelashes and all the mascara.
I've seen pictures of you with those face masks on, though.
What face masks?
Never mind. I've seen them on the internet.
Yeah, and as I'm sure anybody who's dated a hairdresser can tell you, when you find out how much women spend on like their looks and hair and shit like that on a monthly basis, it is shocking. It is like a car payment. In some instances, not all women, of course, but some of them do. If you see a woman walk around and she's got pretty hair, she probably spends hundreds of dollars a month keeping it that way. It's insane.
It boggles my mind, really, when you boil it all down. It's like, man, this is like insane. Like, really?
They can't get their brake pads changed, I
mean, my wife's hair is starting to go gray, and she dyes it every few months or whatever, and like I'm trying to convince her, not because of the money, but just because like I don't mind gray hair. I'm
With
like,
the
just let it go.
experience, that
Just let it
aging
go. Oh, I
You
mean,
You're just trying to
That
live out
too.
your cougar fetish, is what it is.
Nothing wrong with that. It's a healthy way to do it.
it's all natural, I guess. Right? Keeping it in the house. It's crazy expensive. I'm glad that I don't have to deal with that. Yeah, I will
I got
never
this
pay
one-
never pay for hair plugs.
I got this one long ass gray hair right here in the middle of my beard.
Did you notice that the gray ones grow faster, or is this
Oh,
just
yeah.
me?
Yeah.
It's like I'll have like a couple like really long ones just like come out of my mustache. I'm like, and they're like white, you know.
So it's a faster. See, I always thought. I noticed that the gray or white ones come out. They're a different like texture, like they're thicker and coarser and grosser.
Yeah.
So I almost thought maybe they just stuck out more, like not
Maybe.
only visually but physically. But I guess I could buy that they grow faster. I have a mole on my shoulder that's always grown 1 or 2 hairs, and the amount of hairs has increased over the years. And now some of them are gray, and like that really hit me hard when my mole hair started turning gray.
I have a mole on the side of my nose here. It's been there forever, and the other night I was putting my little guy down to bed and saying a prayer to give him a kiss, say goodnight, and he's looking at me. He's like, "What is that?" I was like, "It's a mole." He goes, "Why'd the frog pee on your face?" He's thinking, toads and moles or warts or something. I was like, "Dude, what?" It was, I don't know. Yeah.
When I tell you not to play with toads, it's from experience, boy. Clyde was licking toads back in his day.
You know it. I was boofing toads.
Richard Gere in them.
Oh God.
So, do we have the ability to put up articles today, or what's the story here?
No, Justin
I
doesn't
thought Mark
trust
would
us.
show up, but he did not. So.
You know Mark's not showing up on a Wednesday.
It's not that I don't trust y'all; it's that it costs extra.
No, it's
money
that you don't
to
trust
add,
us. No, I see,
It
dude.
costs
It's
extra
cool.
money to add more than 2 people to the stream,
You're a Yankee. It's cool.
and I just assumed since Mark didn't seem to have a real consistent job when we started doing this, that he would be the most reliable person to have as the second person having the controls for this whole thing. But
yeah,
obviously,
that
was a mistake.
We probably are the 2 people that are least qualified to do that task. So it's probably for the best. I guess it's just days like today. It's like the articles I submitted I didn't really read, so I can't even just talk about.
Nobody reads the articles, man.
Oh,
well, most of mine are
do.
just headlines anyhow.
I
I find good headlines.
I actively neglect paying attention to the road and keeping my children safe on the way to school so that I can read the articles that y'all send at the last second so that I know what we're talking about.
Let me read the headline for one of the articles I sent. This was at the last minute. Florida mayor accused of hitting man in face with rake during hurricane cleanup. Like,
this one is just super hilarious.
I haven't read it yet, but it's
very Florida.
I loved it. I had a cockroach related one too, so I didn't know if that was just coincidental.
Yes. So apparently with the rake thing, they're doing the cleanups and stuff, and this guy is sitting on the bench. I guess he and the mayor had gotten to talking shit at some point, and the mayor just keeps going and keeps talking shit, and then the mayor just runs up on him, and the guy was holding a plastic rake while he was sitting there filming the mayor having his tirade, and the mayor just walks up and puts his hand right into the plastic rake and smashes it into the dude's face. Pretty funny. He's being charged with.
There's a cell phone video of it from the victim's perspective.
You can't pull anything up, dude. You got to pull over. Just pull over and cut the crap. Give it to one of your kids. Let your kids do it.
No, on the mobile. Through mobile, it doesn't give the share screen option. I cannot. I literally can't. It's not that I can't do it because I'm trying to drive and do it at the same time.
Hotspot from your phone. Ride with your laptop like a fucking cop. You know, they
Yeah.
do it all the time, and it's perfectly safe. They never hit and injure people because they're using 8 devices at once.
It's probably
And then
safer
blame it
than
on
a
the
phone,
person
to be
being
honest. Yeah, well, there's that part of it too.
Speaking of, we got passed by a couple cops ran by us on the way to school, and I was like, so he's going way over the speed limit, and they're not allowed to do that. But what really pisses them off is if you just follow right on their ass when they do it. And so then we sped up and proceeded to follow the cop all the way until they turned off.
That's fun because I guess they're kind of calling shit on themselves, you know, right? If they give you a ticket.
Well, I don't know.
Right.
agree with
It's
Carlos.
like they're not legally allowed to do that. See you, Dad. Love
Yeah,
you.
but-
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if
There
they're
was
allowed
this,
to or not. They will, and they will. I feel like, I don't know. I don't want to attract their ire. You know, let them go. on
I've
their-
never had
I'm
one
kinda
like
like,
try
cool,
to slow
they're
down
gone.
or
Uh,
I've
My-
never
my
had
other
one try to
favorite-
like slow down or stop and give me a ticket because I was following them. Like usually what'll end up happening is we'll pull up to like a red light or something and they'll give me a dirty look.
till that day that they decide to lock it up in front of you and then you rear end them.
Oh, that's dick.
Give you a little brake check there. I don't know. I
I
don't
don't-
trust them.
I'm not like right on their ass. I allow about a car
Riding the
length between
ambulance's
us.
wake here.
That's right. I'm not a complete dumbass.
So what you do when you're late for work, you call in a fake car accident across town and you just ride that ambulance in. My old man used to have a term for when you're driving and somebody blows past you doing like 90 and they're just driving like a dick. He'd be like, heat sink, and then
Love you,
crack a
bud.
beer, you know. He's like, all right, we don't got to worry about cops; they're taking the heat.
I like that.
It's like,
I like that.
yeah. It always makes me feel better when you get one or two people driving like assholes in front of you. It's like, all right, cool, you know,
Yeah.
because I don't do anything to get pulled over these days. You know,
What's the speed limit
I
down
play
there?
pretty cool. Oh, it varies so much. You'll be driving, it'll go from 35 to 65 in like a 2-block range. So
It's-
you kind of got to
it's-
pay it. The back roads are nice, but you got to pay
65
attention. I mean, interstates obviously are higher. I think
Yeah.
65 is the highest I've seen on
Okay.
the non-interstate in Florida. Texas, I think I've seen like 85 or something. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think Texas gets fast. I think our interstates are like 70, but I think roads are mostly 55. There's a couple like 2-lane, one direction roads that are 65, but they're almost like interstates,
Indiana is so random with their speed limits. Like every different type of road has a specific speed limit. Like if it's a rural county
Yeah.
highway in a non-residential area, or a rural county highway in a residential area, like there's so many. And somehow I got all of these questions the first time I took the driver's test here in Indiana. I got all of those questions. It was like, I don't know what the speed limit is. Like whatever the fucking sign says it is. Why am I supposed to just like know this by heart? What the speed limit is on every different type of road? I don't know. Post a fucking sign. So I failed the speed or the basically the speed limit test. I failed the driver's test the first time I took it here in Indiana because I got 8 questions on what's the speed limit on a rural highway going through a mountain with pond on either side. It's like, I don't fucking know. What's the sign say?
I know like in some jurisdictions like here, if there's not a sign posted, they can't really write you a ticket for speeding, right? But they haven't posted a 35-mile-per-hour sign, you're going 55, like they can't really write you a ticket. Is that the same with you, or because like you had to know that information to pass your licensure test for your driving? Like,
I don't know. I know in the state of Kentucky, if it's not posted, then it is 35. Like that's
Oof,
so either
that's rough.
yeah, so they can give you a ticket for speeding if it's not posted, because if it's not posted, then it is understood that it is 35. But I don't know what it is here in Indiana. I didn't actually read the driver's manual. I just went and took the test because when I moved here, I'd been driving for 20 fucking years. I didn't think I needed to read a new driver's
I always
manual.
assumed that it was
but-
like 55 when I didn't see signs. Glad I don't drive through Kentucky.
We've got areas that say like unless otherwise posted, like 35 unless otherwise posted or something. But that'll be usually like the villages, if you guys know what the villages are.
How can we not? That's where like old people chlamydia came from, right?
Yep. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that place. It has those signs, which is weird, by the way, man. I work there sometimes. I had a job and I was doing a job on a golf cart, one of their maintenance vehicles, and it's parallel parked on the side of the road. And I'm working on it, but there's like these telephone poles, and I'm looking, and they're not real telephone poles. They're like fake telephone poles, and they have like speakers in them, and they're playing like bubblegum oldies and
Smooth
shit.
jazz.
No. Beach Boys and stuff like that. Okay. And it's just then they come on with, hey guys, this weekend check out the whatever event down at the blah blah blah. And it's like this weird like overlording like science fiction movie like scenario, dude, where it's like they just take old people and they just do their best to trick them into thinking it's the good old days, and put them in this community. It's such a trip.
That's wild. Man.
Oh god. Yeah.
I'll have to visit there one day.
Whatever, that's how you're so familiar with the old people chlamydia. You make frequent trips down there.
Get my prescription filled before I even visit.
I've been told you look at the color ribbon that the ladies tie to the antenna on their golf cart, and that tells you what they're into or what they're looking for. So, rumor has it that's how it works.
Remember that thing that was going around with like high school and college kids a few years ago? That was like the rubber band thing. Like they had different color rubber bands, and each rubber band was a specific like sex act or something. And like if you snap somebody's rubber band, then they had to do that.
How many rubber bands did you snap, Justin?
He brought desserts in for all his kids' birthdays that time.
I remember hearing about that, and I remember thinking this just sounds like total bullshit to me. Like it's one of like the scare stories they put on the news, but I didn't know for sure.
That's what I thought too. Whenever I heard it, it was like that sounds like some of that like mid to late 90s like super conservative Christian mom bullshit where they're like trying to convince you that everything is
Halloween candy.
Yeah, everything is Satan worship.
Like lipstick parties was another one. I was like, I don't think that happens.
Yes.
Otherwise, parties are way cooler nowadays than when I was a kid.
I know. When I was a kid, we just like hung out in the middle of a field and everybody got drunk. Like if it was a really exciting night, somebody would like have to go take a shit in the woods and use their t-shirt to wipe, and then they just go shirtless the rest of the night.
It was almost a rite of passage to finish the night shirtless.
It's so much easier to go commando though. Like use your underwear, toss those.
Use a leaf.
Oh.
Sock. Hello, you got two of them.
And see, but then the problem with the sock is then you got to walk around like without a sock. I don't know. I'm a sock guy. Like I like my socks.
Go barefoot.
I guess it all depends on what piece of clothing you consider the most, important or comfortable. It really is a subjective thing. Just take a survey. What article of clothing do you wipe with if you have to give one up?
This is gonna be the poll on the morning after Twitter. So as soon as the episode ends, I'm putting the poll up. Which article of clothing are you using to wipe your ass if you're partying in the woods?
What do you say?
I think I'd find a buddy to go with me. Somebody that will
use his sock,
toss salads. Yeah, clean it out.
What's your dogs for?
I had corn last night. Corn and peanuts.
Jesus Christ.
Can't believe this is when it went weird.
Right. Speaking of corn and peanuts, Dag, tell us about your breakfast today.
Oh, yeah, I had I guess keto friendly cereal, so grain free cereal. I had a different flavor the other day. This one wasn't bad. It was kind of like Fruit Loops. I think it was made out of malted whey protein or something. Some of them are made out of cassava. It's been my findings with a lot of these grain-free foods that I've been eating by hanging out with keto people, like chips and stuff. Like the base, and I was like, "What is it? If it's not potato, like what is it?" You know, and a lot of times they don't know right offhand. They're like, "I don't know. Let me read the package." You know, but that's usually my first question with the substitute food is like, "Okay, what is it?" You know, like I'm not saying it's bad. I just want to know, like, what is it I'm eating? But not bad. The cassava stuff isn't bad. We were talking a little bit about cassava before the show, but we actually had cassava during the hurricane. Our cassava plants blew over. So we harvested the root, you know, to salvage it and use it. And we made cassava fries.
Is it like
they were
a
pretty good.
sweet potato kind of almost?
It's more definitely like woodier, you know, like you only want to use like certain parts of it. And she treated it somehow beforehand, like boiled it or something, you know, like parboiled it, which I think you're supposed to do with potatoes to make fries anyhow. And they were definitely like, I don't want to say tougher, but like chewier than a fry. Kind of like a sweet potato fry, but definitely chewier. These were older roots too. Maybe there's a better way to do it. It's the first time, but they were good. We ate them all. So, you know, good hurricane food, eating roots without power in the middle of the swamp. You know,
you can just go out to that road and get some crayfish or something, man. Like,
right? Might have been able to pull some catfish out of the neighbor's pasture. I don't know.
I remember my brother used to go to school up in like New York, and in the spring, I think it was a spring, after all the snow melts and everything, like the salmon, they get stuck in like middle of field someplace in like a low part, and you go out at night and you're all drunk, and you could stand in the cold ass water and fish them out.
Like noodling?
You know, kind of. I mean, they were. I think they had like already like half bred, so they were like kind of retarded looking anyway. You know, salmon do, but yeah,
nice.
It was fun. But I don't know.
We had tadpoles crossing the street. We went up when we were checking out the roads, and they were flooded. And it was maybe like, you know, a few inches of water over the road. But I kept seeing these things try to make it up and over, and I'm like, "What do we got? Salmon?" You know, jokingly, of course. And we went up, and yeah, they're big fat tadpoles trying to make it across the road to the frog breeding ground. Apparently.
Did you keep any? They're like
nah,
pets.
no
you
interest.
make a little keepsake next year, you know.
Yeah, that's apparently this Dahmer show. It's apparently what Dahmer was doing. So
wait, what now?
Wait, what?
Have you guys not watched the Jeffrey Dahmer series thing on? I think it's on Netflix. Yeah,
we watched episode 1, and that was like all that my wife was up for at the time. We've been watching Devil in Ohio instead.
Yeah, me and Niall have just been thrilled about watching a bunch of murder and gay sex during dinner every night for the last week. It'll be nice when it's over.
The gay sex is that Dahmer's dinner, or is that your dinner?
Well, sometimes I feel like it's becoming my dinner, but I've been careful about what I'm making. Not making hot dogs or anything like that.
Was he actually having gay sex, or was he just murdering and eating gay people?
He was like having gay sex. I think that where they're like going with it is like, okay, like the consensual experiences were few and far between and maybe humiliating. So he tended to drug them. And he wouldn't necessarily kill them. Like he would drug them in like it. So I listened to somebody else talk about this on a podcast. They're like, "Oh man, he was so smart. He was such a great." He's like, somebody was like, "No, he wasn't. Like every single time he like killed somebody or did something, that they called the cops. Like he was terrible. He just was like the luckiest person in the world. Like he'd like drug them and like leave them in like bathhouses, and like he ended up getting banned from all the bathhouses in like Milwaukee because he got a bad reputation for drugging dudes, you know, and just leaving them there. So it wasn't always murder, but I guess it did end up becoming that. And I think, yeah, and it also seems like some of it was like weird, like medical experimentation. Like he was trying to like chemically lobotomize people so he could keep them around. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but also it was the perfect time for it because it was just like it was like the the late 80s, early 90s, so it was just like, oh yeah, doing gay stuff in here, and the cops were like, oh whoa, all right, well you go on. Like they call the cops and be like, he's murdering people in there. Like his neighbors would call the cops. They'd be like, oh no, this is my boyfriend, we're just totally doing weird gay stuff. And the cops would be like, whoa, I'm not going in there. I'm not going in that building. I'm gonna catch something. So it was just a good thing. You could just use that, get away with anything. Nope, suitcase full of gay stuff here. Don't look in there.
Did you see the tweet that I had put in the Twitter group chat? The one that said if he had just told everybody he was Indian, they wouldn't have had any suspicions about the smell.
Yeah.
I like Indian food. I don't know if I like that tweet. Felt racist to me.
It's supposed to be racist. That's the point.
I'm sure that the Indian people, white people's houses smell awful.
Probably so.
Oh, yeah.
Or they at least smell white. Like, oh, it's not like white people in here. I know that's not how Indian people talk, but I'm bad at accents.
Yeah. I don't even try. I really don't try accents because it's bad. What else was it?
I could probably do a good Indian accent, but that feels a little too racist even for me.
They're the most fun, though. I don't know why. Indian accent just makes me laugh the hardest. I don't know if it's the convenience store thing. I don't know what it is. It just feels kind of silly. I don't know. Very nice people, I'm sure.
Yes. They have a hard time getting in here, too. The U.S. doesn't like them coming in. It's kind of interesting.
Well, that's because we need them to stay over there and work the call centers. Otherwise, who's going to answer the phone?
Well, and that's the thing. You can do a call center from over there. It's not like we're Mexicans where we need you to come here and physically build stuff for us. You can do the call center from India.
Right. Keep you and all the stank over there. Like we don't need any of that over here.
But especially down here,
Mexican food smells good too. So
Ooh, yeah. And the worse it is, the better it smells. Like, and the better it is. The grosser. Like, man, when I was in Mexico and got like the best Mexican food ever, that grill was disgusting. I'm like, oh, I'm not looking back there. But man, it was good food.
It's like Chinese food, though. Best places are like the shadiest places.
Yeah, we had a place here that got shut down for a couple months because they had like ducks and chickens like hanging from a string out behind the health department like shut them down because they had ducks and chickens just hanging on a string out back. It's like, okay, good. Like
that's
that's the place I want to be. Why is this a problem? Like, fucking health department screwing all this up. Like, we could be having real Chinese food, and instead we get the Chinese American bullshit. Like, nobody wants that. Like, give me real stuff.
So we had Mexican food in Georgia a couple weeks ago. So I've been meaning to bring this up the time when we were all together because of Clyde's thing with Mexican food in Georgia, and it was strange. It was like, so here Mexican people make our Chinese food, and it almost felt like Chinese people were making the Mexican food because it was like, and like it was good, but it didn't taste like a Mexican burrito. It tasted like a Chinese food burrito. Like the way the chicken was cooked and it had like Mexican flavor, I guess, but it just really reminded me of of Chinese food. It was interesting.
What part of Georgia?
Somewhere along 75. I don't know.
Okay. Was it like a chain?
It was there was like a drive-through, but it was right next to the interstate.
Okay.
A cop double parked us in when we went to the gas station next door, which was kind of funny. And that's the kind of thing, like, I really want to just, like, take a picture or a video or, like, be a dick or something. But I'm like, oh, no, I'm going to go home tonight. So I'm gonna just sit in my car quietly and eat my food, wait for him to leave. And then
you can't judge a Mexican place based on there being a drive-through, though. Like, every single Mexican place around here, whenever COVID hit and they weren't allowed to have people in the store, they knocked a piece of a wall out and put a drive-through window in so that people could order shit. It was like, because I was working at Lowe's, it's like, why are all these Mexicans coming in here and like just getting all this shit? And then every single Mexican restaurant in town all of a sudden had a drive-through window. It's like, these are some resourceful motherfuckers. Like they are
They
not
are.
going out. They are not going
Mhm.
out of business.
It was like the chicken was kind of like crispy, like it was like fried, like like on
Yeah.
like a hibachi grill. It was like hibachi chicken, like the texture, crispiness. That's what kind of reminded me of the
Yeah. I don't
like
know.
Asian race. Yeah. So it was
Sounds kind of gross.
interesting. Yeah. So we get a lot of Indian immigrants like here in Florida to the like sort of upper middle class like new suburbs, but they're very like they make a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure we're very welcoming of them here. Huge tax base. Make good citizens, I'm sure. But yeah, you go to like in like Wesley Chapel, which is this like suburb near Tampa, which is just like blown up. Like I went to like high school there and stuff, and it was like cow fields and 2-lane roads, and I don't recognize it when I go back. It's insane. But yeah, it's lots of upper class Indian folk for sure.
They know how to do it, I guess. I don't know.
Ooh.
It's if you look like it's crazy how many like they all own their own like gas station or their liquor stores and all this stuff. It's kind of I don't know. They're living the American dream.
They're living the American dream hard. Like they've always got multiple cell phones going on. It's like, hang on, yeah, hang on, yeah. It's like, can you just like give me a can of dip and let me put $20 on pump 4?
Well, he's running a vape store. He's running a convenience store. He's got doing the whole bit. There's a guy who runs a marathon near me, and the day that he took it over, he's like, I just bought this place today, brother. This is my new store. I was like, cool. I'll be seeing you. I buy Tall Boys of Bush here regularly. Anyhow, but he's got like a reverse Hitler mustache. It's weird. Like the middle is shaved, and then the mustache goes on the side. I don't know if he's making a statement or what. Also, what's up, everyone in the
India,
chat?
like,
Sorry,
thing?
I just realized comments. I clicked over into comments. What's up, Goon? What's up, Carlos?
Yeah, Justin can't pull him up.
Yeah, I don't know. Too stony this morning.
Well, the gas station here when they bought it, they kept all the old redneck white women on for long enough for them to find it or figure out what all of the different tobacco products were, and then once they got all that figured out, then all the white women were gone.
So who do they hire?
Now all of the Indians run the store. Like there's at least a dozen of them.
They have Indian women on staff. I feel like that's like sacrilegious to them.
There's 2 of them.
Oh no, they work the stores.
Yeah.
Keep it in the family, I guess, right?
Everybody contributes.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it, but our closing segment on here, that guy, the documentary on him, he was like some Indian guru or whatever, but it turns out his whole thing was this big like immigration. I don't want to call it a scam because I'm whatever. I'm kind of cool with it, but his whole thing was this big immigration scam to get Indian people immigrated here, around to get them married, like paired up and get them married off and stuff, so they can move here under the marriage thing.
Tell you, man, arranged marriages, where it's at.
Well, aren't there like shows about it now, like 90 Day Fiance or some shit? People still use
Is that what that's about? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's like fat, gross American chicks having Indian guys come here and marrying them so they can get citizenship, and then all the drama that inevitably ensues.
How long do you have to stay married for to keep your visa? Do you know?
I thought they closed that up, but maybe it's just for certain thing. Maybe it's like for Mexico, because I have like friends who like Mexican and thing wives, and they're like, yeah, it doesn't work like that anymore. So maybe it's just a Mexico thing versus like an India thing. I'm really not sure. I honestly thought it was closed up, but they have a reality show about it. Maybe it's just legal for the reality show, because I would believe that if you told me that. They got like an exemption.
Yeah. I don't know, man. So you guys did you read the Mosquito article?
Yes, I did read the Mosquito article.
See, I had thought that was going on. I feel like I remember seeing that like I don't know, a couple years ago. Am I making things up?
So I think a couple years ago they were talking about it like hypothetically that it could be that it was something that was being researched, and from this article it looks like we're out of the research phases and we're ready for like implementation type stuff.
Yeah, that research meant in the wild mosquito bites.
Yeah. So anyway, they're looking at using these mosquitoes to spread a what was it? Was it a malaria vaccine?
Yeah, and it didn't work. It didn't keep its efficacy for like more than 6 months, but it showed enough promise that they're gonna keep researching it, which
So it's kind of like kind of like this other vaccine that doesn't maintain its efficacy for more than.
Are you allowed to say that word at all?
Efficacy?
The V1.
I mean, you can say vaccine, but just don't say it in regards to or in relation to.
You can't say
you can't say the C word too.
Right. You can't say this. Yeah, you can't say the C word. Like, no, don't say the cunt vaccine. That's that'll get you in trouble.
All right. Do you guys remember Zika? Was that like 4 years ago?
Yeah, Zika was all the rage. Everybody was gonna. Nobody was ever gonna have kids again or something like that.
Yeah. I wonder if that was not like a GMO type thing too. That kind of got out of control.
Wasn't that weird? Because it was. It seemed like it was really specific. The way Zika was, it targeted like young people, and it targeted fertility specifically. Like, it didn't really make people sick. It just made it where you couldn't have kids. Well, that's weird.
Dude, I've heard a lot of I don't even want to say theories, but it was there was some poisoning, or there was some test, or there was some thing. I don't know which, if any of them are true. I'm sorry, Clyde. What were you gonna say?
No, I don't trust any of it. But I had to take my kid to the urgent care last night. He has I think he's got impetigo or something, right? Bacterial infection from like poison ivy being open for too long kind of thing. But it's nothing serious. You just got to get a prescription for it. Went to the kids' urgent care. There's probably 4 or 5 in town. Regular urgent cares. Went to the kids' urgent care and it was packed full. I had known that it had been full. Like, I had a friend that went over the weekend or something, and it was like they were turning people away and sending them to the ER. They open at 5. I showed up at like 6:15, and they were full. They closed at 8. Went to another one for adults, and they were packed full. Everybody around here is getting sick. It's either they got the flu, it's like bronchitis, there's strep throat going around, like all sorts of stuff. And it seems like everybody's getting it. It's lingering, and I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if this is because like everybody stayed inside, right, for like 2 years, and is it just the fallout of everybody having partially weakened immune systems, or if this is like, vaccine fallout. Like, is it possible that this vaccine, even though, not everybody got it, a lot of people I know that are getting sick, like it's half and half, right? They got it, they didn't get it. Like, is it fallout from, was there enough a critical mass that actually got the vaccine that it did something else to the natural environment, to the rest of us that didn't get it? Like, I don't know. My wheels are turning, and I feel like they did something.
So there were some studies. This episode is definitely getting taken down, so we're just going to go off all the way in on it.
Well, I didn't say anything.
There were some studies that showed that where the vaccine did work, it weakened the immune system against other things.
Now, does that have because it's a different one, because we're not entirely sure how it plays out, like, is it enough to impact those that haven't got it, right? Is it when you shed, or when the disease or virus comes out of you after you've caught it and you transfer it to someone else, does it change the virus enough that other people's immune systems can't fight it either? Like,
I don't know about all that. That's more scientific than I know.
So we got it whenever we got it, a couple months ago or whatever. And like, me or my girl have like felt like we've both been like, man, I haven't felt like the same, since. Like it's fucking weird. Like I've never had never gotten sick and I don't know if it's in my head, but something just feels weird about it. Like something felt so like weird and unnatural about that illness. Like it was really strange. So I don't know, man. I'm not saying you're right, but I'm not saying you're wrong either. I believe something like, because maybe it's not even the vaccine. Maybe it's just getting it. Maybe that fucks us up. Maybe that's.
I say we did go for about 3 weeks where like meat tasted funny. Like it didn't taste bad. It just had a weird. It had like a weird sweet taste instead of bacon tasting like bacon, it tasted like bacon, but with like artificial sweetener on it. Like it just tasted funny. And then like once that went away, everything was fine for me. But like Stephanie still had a little bit of a lingering, like she just kind of stayed really mildly sick for a few more weeks after that. And then we finally both kind of kicked everything about it. But yeah, there was definitely some linger to it that and like when I got the original, because I had the original strain of COVID back in late February.
You just took us down.
Sorry. We already said it before. Late February or
you and your hipster strain.
It was early to mid February. Anyway, of 2020, I got the original, and like it put me down for a week. I stayed on the couch with a fever of 104 for 4 straight days, but then after that, like literally within 3 days of the fever breaking, I was back playing basketball and running and doing everything normal. Like there was no like lingering effects of that. So maybe they are, it's like with weeds and stuff, like when you spray Roundup or different chemicals and eventually weeds start to develop a resistance to that. Like maybe by introducing the shot, it created a resistant strain that is now doing different things that weren't, especially with it looking like, the lab leak theories are correct and this is a manufactured thing. Maybe it reacts differently to outside stimulus than normal types of viruses do.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't trust any of it. I'm scared, and it freaks me out. Like, I had some friends and they have like a mess of kids. All their kids got sick. Except for their eldest, who's like 15, and the 2 adults. All the kids got sick. And it was like flu. It took them down for like, a week. The parents avoided it. It's kind of weird. I was like, how does that work? Especially when the parents are the one taking care of like the, 2, 3, 5-year-olds. Like, you know what I mean? Like you would think that they would get sick. But.
Well, maybe the parents had been exposed to other stuff being out around like civilization, and if the kids had been somewhat sheltered from that and hadn't had that same exposure, then because there was towards the middle to end of 2021, there was a big spike in pneumonia and some other like common diseases that because everybody had been like sheltered for over a year, once people did start to leave their houses, then they started getting sick with shit that they would normally be exposed to regularly and not get sick from. And because they had, everybody had been closed up in their houses for a year, once they did start getting back out, then they started catching all the shit that they hadn't been exposed to for the past year.
Yeah.
Maybe germ theory just isn't real at all, and it's something else making us sick.
Yeah.
DARPA's death ray or something.
I was going to keep licking doorknobs and refusing to wash my hands.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. That's been my theory. It's been working pretty solidly for me throughout life. But.
There was a big thing that came out about that the over-sanitation or over-sanitizing everything was actually allowing COVID to spread more rapidly at one time. Like they were like, you got to clean everything, scrub it all. And then a couple or like 4 or 5 months later, they came out. They were like, actually, this is not good. We're over sanitizing everything. It's creating these perfectly sterile surfaces that this virus can just spread as quickly and easily as it wants to. Like you need to have some gunk and bullshit to kind of filter that stuff out.
Everybody's dying of ammonia poisoning and shit, you know.
Oh my gosh,
Poor
they had
kids
to
are
put they had to literally put signs on like the registers and stuff at, like I'm sitting at Lowe's because I got to get some shit for the house, and I was working at Lowe's at the time. They had to put like signs on the registers and stuff, don't spray the bleach directly on the stuff because it messes it up. It's like, do we
I
really
remember seeing a few of those
pin
signs
pads,
too.
yeah.
well, and like people would get mad because there would be the like the clear sticky thing on the pin pad. They're like, this isn't protecting anything. It's like, it's not to protect you. It's to protect the equipment from the dumbass employees who don't seem to understand that if you spray bleach into a keypad, that it shorts the thing out and it'll stop working. Like
Now I feel bad because I definitely said that once or twice.
the covering is not to protect you. It's to protect the equipment from the morons who work here. Like, calm down.
Like it's like the people who wear gloves and then just touch everything, like, you know, like just because they have gloves on, it, you know, like they don't understand what gloves, like why there's, you know, you see them walking around the store with gloves on, dicking with their phone,
touching their face, eating French fries. Yeah.
That's not how gloves work.
I had a lady that came up to me. I was wearing, we could either wear a mask or a face shield, and the face shield doesn't actually touch your face, and it's really like, unless you go to put something in your mouth and like smash the shield into your face, you really don't notice that you've got anything on with the face shield. So I would wear the face shield. And this lady came up to me with her mask down, like off of her nose. Her nose is out. And she's like, you know, that doesn't do anything. I'm like, I just wear it so I can work here. Like, I really don't care. It's like, thanks for the heads up though. Like, I really appreciate you looking out for me with your mask not covering your nose.
I'm glad we're over the masking bit of it. You know.
Yeah. At least anything where people try to encourage other people to wear masks. You know what I mean? I still see a few people wearing masks from time to time, but you know, nobody has signs up. Maybe the hospital. The hospital's probably still good.
No, that's been dropped. Hospitals are no longer required, or no hospitals are no longer required to require masks. They
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it was the CDC dropped that requirement a week ago.
Biden declared the pandemic was over. So he did. Now I don't know what that means because, you know, my wife still has to wear a mask at work. You know, some of those things are still in place, and there's going to be hangover and you know, just things that never go away. So yeah, the CDC might not require it, but I guarantee you there's going to be like places.
Well, it's a private company, bro. It's a private company, bro. They can do whatever they want.
Yes. Hospitals are so private. So private.
I got an appointment in December. I'll let you know.
Oh, Stephanie's got to get screws taken out of her foot. I'm wondering if they're gonna. I don't know.
Can't you just take them
out?
God. You know, I could probably take the screws out, but it's the finding them part that I'm not real.
Get one of those magnetic bits. Yeah. Like fish around.
Dude, $20 you can get a small handheld metal detector on Amazon. They work pretty good.
This is the future though. This is the medical landscape of the future. Like this is what we're going to be doing because you're not going to be allowed in the hospital. They're going to look at your digital ID and they're going to say, nope, you didn't get this vaccine. You shot on this. You're on your own.
My Bowie knife is really sharp. I could probably, I don't know. There's a lot of tendons in that part of the foot though. Like for now, she has like 90% functionality of her foot. If I go cutting on it with a Bowie knife, pretty sure we're not going to be maintaining the 90%.
And all your knives, that's the most precision knife you have.
Oh, it's the sharp. No, it's not the most precision, but it's the sharpest. Like if I want to get a good clean cut, that's the one. I mean, I have
just get a dissecting kit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just keep it around.
I
for things
laid
like this.
myself open when I was a teenager with one of those. Oh my god. Oh. We use for window tinting, we've got a kind of specific like a razor knife that we use, and we use the stainless steel blades because they don't etch glass. Anyhow, they work really well. Anytime I've had to do minor surgery on friends, we've used those and it works pretty all right.
Do you stitch or do you use super glue?
Oh, neither. Just bandage. Stitching and stuff is just for looks, just for appearance.
Chicks dig scars.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah, it's just to reduce scars. So if
Throw
I'm
a
removing something that's been embedded in your body, we're not too worried about that.
Yeah, throw a butterfly band-aid on there, it'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Electrical tape and paper towels. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. That's what, like we ran out of at the school I work at. We didn't have any band-aids, and some kid had like a little bloody finger. It wasn't bad, but I was like, here, just like put a paper towel around it, and we got some scotch tape, and we'll wrap it around, and we'll make do. You'll be all right. He's like, what?
It's not
Jesus.
a band-aid.
This is like, come on, man. You think they're
You
like
get like a
rolling.
magical appeal to kids, right? Like a band-aid has like healing abilities.
Dude, I don't know what it is. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I ran a drill bit through my forearm several years ago, and
Like through, or just like into?
Yeah.
can you see it? I don't know. It's a pretty
No.
good scar there.
He's like, look,
I
there's
see
a red
scar
mark.
there.
Anyway, I was carrying a bunch of shit all at once, and I didn't have the drill locked in like neutral, and I fumbled some stuff, and so like as I was trying to catch it, I squeezed the trigger on the drill, and the bit hit my forearm and just went. And
That sounds like what I tell a doctor when my kid has a broken arm. Like
One in a
fell down the
million
stairs
shot
kind
doc.
of thing. Like, I don't know if I believe you here.
Anyway, it took a nice sized chunk out of my arm, and so I just like set everything down on the cabinet, and I was at the house working on it by myself. So I had a t-shirt on and just ripped the sleeve off and tourniqueted myself up and went on working. Like my dad came over an hour or so later. He's like, "What's up with your arm?" I was like, "Oh, just ran a drill bit through my arm. No big deal." He's like, "Do you need stitches or anything?" It's like, "I don't know."
That's not how stitches work.
It's like, what are they gonna stitch? Like there's a plug missing out of my arm.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing there to stitch. Like, I don't know.
It'll heal itself.
That's right. And it did.
So I always put drills like back in the safety position, like I always thought out of like firearms habit, and like when I tell people I do that, they look at me like I'm crazy. And now I see that I actually have. What's up, Steven? Now I see that I actually have like a reason for doing it. Other than just that I'm like OCD about it and like have to put it in neutral, my reasoning I would tell people is, well, that way if the drill's in my bag, my tool bag, and the button gets pushed, it doesn't run the battery down. But I didn't even think about the safety aspect of having the, a fucking paddle bit just go spinning all of a sudden.
Yeah, and it will make a nice meaty mess of your forearm if it gets into it.
See, I've always wondered why those locks are on there, and I've never ever used one. When I put it away and I put it in the bag, I take the battery off it. But I've never thought about that.
Well, he unchambers the weapon and everything. He's extra safe.
Also, let's see. I was using a nail gun and ran a nail through my finger one time. That was a lot of fun.
Ooh, I saw someone do a brad nail through their fucking thumb.
Oh, it was a brad nail through my
finger.
finger.
Go through the nail.
It
go through the nail part.
No, right just below it. Fortunately, it didn't go through the nail. I was using some 2x4s, and I guess the 2x4 had like a knot in it. I was putting like a piece of board on top of the 2x4, and I just had my finger, like my hand next to it, and when the brad nail went through,
length away,
it hit that knot, and it kicked out the side of the 2x4 and went right through my fucking finger.
Yeah. Seen it happen before. Never to
like,
me,
God
thank God.
damn. I was like, what was that? And then it was I pull away and see my finger bleeding, and then it just won't stop because like seriously, an eighth of an inch of this brad nail just went up into my finger.
No.
Me and power tools, almost blew myself up, electrocuted myself a few times, drilled my arm, nail my finger. Like
shop injuries are horrifying.
It's a wonder I'm still alive.
I don't think I've ever really done anything with like
my hair's starting to grow back pretty nicely on my arm though.
Well, that's
Nice.
Good. Does it come in thicker?
Not yet. I'm kind of hoping for that since we're approaching winter.
Justin's right side's gonna freeze off. A frostbite.
No hair on my poor arm.
Oh man.
Oh shit.
Oh, you can pull them up now, huh?
Well, I've been sitting for a minute, but nobody's been commenting. So,
yeah.
Tell us about the cockroaches. What are they going to use those for?
Oh yeah, and I guess Japan. It's funny because I saw they were calling them cyborg. So yeah, it's not just robot cockroaches. I guess they're actually it's like a what's that? Like additive manufacturing, but onto cockroaches to use them to help find people during natural disasters. So never fear, a herd of cockroaches is coming to find you while you're trapped in that rubble.
Then you can cry like that poor girl at the beginning.
Yeah, right. Okay, here we go. How they can help save human lives trapped below rubble. Disasters like earthquakes and constructing collapses typically result in survivors being trapped below the rubble, unable to maneuver themselves on account of damage or being buried too deep. So they end up dying and whatnot. Ever imagine bugs being those to save human lives? You heard that proper. Researchers in Japan are engaged on that's what it says, engaged on a cyborg cockroach or a remote-controlled insect carrying a tiny backpack of photovoltaic cells and digital hardware.
This article was definitely translated from Japanese because
it was something because it doesn't. I'm like reading it.
And I think it's by like a British person who like translated it. They a photovoltaic cell that is 4 microns in width. In different phrases, a strand of your hair. Okay, sorry, that doesn't make then an ultra thin movie. This makes no sense.
Yeah.
The translation isn't great.
Yeah, so they use Madagascar hissing cockroaches, the most terrifying kind of cockroach. And yeah, I guess they put little backpacks on them and they allow them to control themselves. You guys
imagine being trapped.
Yes.
Yeah.
See the Pickle Rick episode where he like rips the brain hatch off the cockroach and uses his tongue to direct it to move. That's what this reminds me of.
Have y'all watched I can't remember if it was on Netflix or Amazon Prime. It's Oats Studios.
Mm-mm.
So it's like it's kind of like a Black Mirror type thing, but it's different. Anyway, there's one episode of this Oats Studios where it's these guys like working in a lab, and one of the things that they do is they're like using inmates as test subjects for this stuff. But one of them is they shoot one guy with this like control dart, and then they can drive him like using a remote control and make him go do stuff and then make him self-destruct. Well, another one, they have like cockroaches, like flying cockroaches, and they're all hooked up with some sort of explosive, and so they'd like fly all of these cockroaches at a guy and blow them all up and like blow the dude up. That's kind of what I was thinking. It's like
I just imagine being trapped under rubble, being terrified of bugs, and this hissing cockroach is what's coming for you. Like, you imagine, like, you just can't move.
Like, are they driving these things like remote control style, or are they?
Sounds like. Otherwise, they're just releasing cockroaches with video cameras and hoping for the best.
Go find people.
I just imagine like a bad like 90s movie where like these like scientists are developing this for good, and like a 4-star general comes like bursting in the room and like, you know, to commandeer the technology to turn them into, you know, to weaponize these cockroaches, and they're like, no, you can't. They're for good.
They're gonna run them
You
around with
be
little mini
quiet.
nukes on them.
Suicide
Mr.
bomber cockroaches.
Scientist.
Yeah. How many of those do you think Ukraine has? What do you think we'd sell to Ukraine?
Not
I bet you
not
that's what they're
enough.
doing right now. They're developing this right now. Somebody's in Japan right now stealing these cockroaches and selling them to Ukraine.
So Ukraine can turn around and sell them on the Libyan black markets.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll probably just dip
Smuggling
them in
them in
chocolate
shaving
down
cream
there.
cans.
Dip them in chocolate, and then we get to have some of Dag's grain-free breakfast.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
It's extra crunchy.
You said grain-free cereal, and the first thing I thought was chili. It is chilly weather, so
Yeah.
chili and
Chili's
soup.
good.
It's getting
Where do you
chilly.
stand on the whole Texas bean versus no bean chili thing? Because those Texans get upset if you say chili has beans in it.
It's got beans in it.
yeah, and
Chili
everywhere
without
other
beans
than
is.
That's why it's called Texas style chili. But you know how people from Texas are. That's just Texas is just the way it is. So to them, it's not Texas style chili. It's fucking chili. But yeah, I try and tell them it's Texas style chili, and they get even more upset.
okay. What
It's
about
not
noodles?
chili.
What about noodles in chili?
It's just
Like I
spaghetti.
think that, yeah, like it tastes good, but it is weird. That is weird to call that chili.
Steven's racist.
Like add another word. Yeah, chili casserole or something. I don't know.
Yeah. What about white beans? Great Northern beans.
Uh-oh.
We can't.
Now
end
I
the show
really don't
now.
know. I don't know how to end the show. I was wondering why it hadn't happened already. How long can we vamp on chili before Justin ends the show?
Oh, shit.
No, I
Yeah,
don't know
but
what
that's
to do.
but Steven, that's like in Michigan we have no bean chili that we put on hot dogs. That's like what is that's like a sloppy Joe though, right? I mean,
Kinda.
kind of.
I
What do we call it?
I
A chili
guess-
dog.
I
It's
guess I
just
don't
a
know.
chili dog. You don't put beans on your. I don't know.
It does seem a bit much to put bean chili on a dog.
Welcome back, you big
Um,
retard.
See, this is
Yeah.
what happens when I start trying to push buttons and shit, and then fuck it all up and end up dropping myself out of
We didn't know what to do.
the. Yeah, because y'all can't end the show. You just have to go forever.
Yeah.
That would have been
like
awesome.
some sort of hell. Twilight Zone. You like podcasting, eh? With your
Yeah.
buddies, do you? Well,
You're gonna do it forever. Can't leave the stream. You just have to sit here and podcast on. 6-hour podcast.
Fucks
all
up
right.
the Coney dog. See you later, retards.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.